The show that you're about to listen to was recorded back on August 1st of 1996. My guest that evening was Robert Morningsky, who wound up doing a two-part series on the Star Elders, this particular show being the first of those two parts. And now, without any further ado, is show number 296 with Robert Morningsky and his most famous talk about the Star Elders.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Rod, and I want to thank you and your network again for providing me with the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with your listeners. I have to thank several of you. I have been very, very fortunate to have Ivy West as a friend, and she introduced me to the network a while back, and I want to thank those of you who listened to her and called in and encouraged us, but thank you, Rod, and the network, and to you, Ivy, my sister in Hawaii. Thank you very much. And let me begin just this evening by giving you just a little bit of background about myself. It is truly not important within the scope of the material that we want to talk about. However, some people are wondering, who is Robert Morningsky? I am by profession a Native American dancer. I am a full-blood Native American, Hopi and Apache. Hopi on my mother's side, Apache on my father's side. I have had the extreme good fortune to be able to tour the United States. I've done several theme parks, Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Old Tucson. I've done commercials, documentaries. I've done some stunt work. I have my own professional dance troupe. We went to Hawaii. We've been in New Zealand and down in Mexico and again all over the United States. So by profession, I am a dancer. I, however, would like to speak to you tonight about some information, some research that really has no bearing who I am. I am, and I like, to be very honest, I like the title, I am nobody. I am nobody special in this field. I do not have a degree in physics, though I do have a degree in mathematics. I am not a research specialist and a scientist with NASA. I am not an ex-Air Force Intelligence, ex-CIA. I am not an ex-agent of any sort. I do not have the credentials that would list me as a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a doctor of any sort. I'm not a guru, not a psychic. I'm not a channeler. I am not a medium. I am trying, ladies and gentlemen, to simply present to you that I am nobody. I'm an average man who tried to make an honest living, who tried to live up to the ideals that we were taught both in school and through our parents and through our own disciplines, our own ways as we grew up. And I became very frustrated. I have a position that I would like to express in the next two nights that simply sums everything up in this fashion. Up is down, black is white, and everything we have ever been taught is a lie. It is my suggestion in the research that we're going to present to you in the next two nights that we have been deliberately lied to, we have been manipulated, we have been cheated. We have been asked to believe in a divinity, in angels, in heavenly beings, but we are told that extraterrestrial beings, beings who reside in the stars, cannot exist. We are asked to believe many miraculous and religious stories about flaming chariots, about angels that fly about in the clouds and stars that dance. But we are not permitted to believe in extraterrestrials with spaceships and starships. We have been taught in our public school systems not to think, not to challenge, but in fact to accept. We are taught to memorize. We are taught to repeat, to learn and regurgitate. I suggest that it is very plain when in fact you rose your hand in school. You asked the teacher that very deadly question, why? And her response was very simple, don't get smart. And I suggest that that tells you quite a bit. This evening and tomorrow night, I want you to challenge everything that I present to you. You must not accept one single word. Challenge all of it. Read and research for yourself. If you're confident in your faith, if you're confident in your religion or your political stance, I can only suggest to you that it is extraordinarily wise to listen to what the enemy, to listen to what the critics are saying. For if in fact your faith, your way of life, your discipline, or your political position is strong, nothing that a challenger can say will shake your faith or your position. If, however, a statement that is made makes you think, perhaps your faith is not as strong, perhaps your position is not as powerful as you once thought. But again, please accept nothing that I tell you, none of the research. I will give you sources during the course of the next 2 nights. Please read everything. As soon as you are convinced you know the truth about any of several different topics, read another book. Because one of the things that we are going to point out is that the truth changes. What was true 100 years ago is no longer true. What is true today will not be true 100 years from now. It is the foolish person who relies on just one book. Later on, we're going to show you that there are numerous books that put the Bible in jeopardy as to its position as a report of truth. You must read, you must be aware, you must challenge, and you must question. I wish to apologize in advance if I offend anyone. It is not my place, it is not my desire to attack your faith or to criticize. However, I honestly believe that the research and the position that we will present to you shows that we have had the truth deliberately, maliciously taken away from us. We do not have free will. Our destinies are not decided by our own families and by ourselves. They are decided by forces outside of us. I would like to begin with the reason that I am even here. As a Native American, I grew up with the stories of the Southwest. I was fortunate to be able to spend time with my grandfather the first 5 years of my life. Shortly after my real father was born, he was killed in an accident. My grandfather raised me. He was a full-blooded Apache. And as circumstances would have it, shortly after the accident, my mother left the reservation. She left me in the care of my 2 grandfathers, my Hopi grandfather on her side, my Apache grandfather on my dad's side. I spent half of the time on the Hopi reservation, half of the time on the Apache reservation. Now, the Apache world is very, very aggressive. It is male-oriented. I'm sure many of you know the stories about Apache warriors and how they were able to truly, in some cases, destroy, if not completely bring to a standstill, cavalry forces, soldiers that outnumbered them 20 and 30 to 1. The Apache are extraordinarily passionate in their fighting, in their lives, in their dancing. Apaches are male-oriented. Now, the Hopi society is quite the contrary, female-oriented. In the Hopi world, the village, the family, the universe itself revolves around the woman. The Hopi way is one of the few on this planet that suggests that the creator of heaven and earth, and please listen very carefully, the creator of heaven and earth, I did not say the universe, the creator of heaven and earth is a woman. We believe that our ancestry is drawn through the female. In the old days, it was the woman who did the courting. It was the woman who made the decisions. It was the man who spent his life dedicating his every effort to provide her with an opportunity to fulfill the most astonishing goal that there could be for mankind, and that is to be a woman. A female-oriented society tends to be passive, tends to look towards the spiritual in the sense of the mental and the emotional. The Apache world, which is very male-oriented, tends to lean towards the physical, to the more aggressive. And so I'm sure that you can imagine growing up as a youngster, when you live for 6 months in one world which tends to the female and the passive, and suddenly you're taken to a reservation where it leans towards the male and the aggressive, It can be very eye-opening. It can be disturbing at times, however. I consider myself to be probably the most fortunate man on the face of the earth, because I was able to live in a culture, in a society, which is not dying, but which has passion, both the male and the female orientation, which has passion for the dancing, which has passion for life itself. And I grew up with both extremes. My two grandfathers, curiously enough, were storytellers. This is a position that essentially some people would refer to as shaman, medicine man, teacher. There are many, many titles for it, but essentially the storyteller is the one who interprets revelations, he interprets the prophecies. It is he who does the teaching. Both of my grandfathers spent great amounts of time showing me the secrets of the warrior, the discipline of the warrior, and the secrets of the stars. But my story begins with my Apache grandfather.